Hi everyone, it's Lori and welcome to my channel. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about adding details and glow to your images to create something really stunning. We're going to use the program Luminar Neo to do both of these techniques. Let's get started. Today, I'm in Lightroom Classic and I have a couple images up that I wanted to show you the before and the after, and then we will jump into editing. So this is an image of a beautiful spring dogwood. And what I wanted to do was add some more detail to the center, some softness, and some warmth to the overall image. So this is the after image. I edited this in Luminar Neo. I chose Luminar Neo because it has an amazing ability to add detail using their AI technology, but also some creative tools for softness. So we're going to play with those in just a minute. Let me show you another example. This was a tulip that I handheld shot overhead, and let me go to the import. I want to make sure I show you the right image. So this was the import. You can see it's a little bit soft, and I wanted to bring out more details and also brighten the white areas. So this is the after image where I've been able to go in and bring out more detail and also brighten those whites. So you can see the after with a lot more detail. So I'm going to show you how in Luminar you can add detail and softness at the same time. So this is another image where this was the import. I did a few changes in Lightroom Classic, but I really wanted to add a little bit more glow to the image. Now this is going to be a very subtle change, but you can see this was the after, so it's just a little bit brighter in a couple places than the original, which was a little flat, especially on that side. Now, the next image that we're going to look at, this is going to be, let's see, this is the import. So this is the before. So really nice. It's a solid image. I did a few tweaks in Lightroom, but what I wanted to do again was add more softness and also give a little bit more of a vintage look to the background. So more of a matte finish. So you can see now it's a little brighter and the background is definitely a little bit more, less harsh to complement the softness of the flower. All right, so let's jump into Luminar Neo. Now, if you're not familiar with Luminar's AI program software, you can purchase it for a lifetime where you own the program, you'll get all their updates, and it can work as a standalone editing program. So if you're looking for an editing program that also has a catalog and is very powerful and has creative tools, Luminar Neo might be a great option. It also works as a plugin with Lightroom or Photoshop. So we can take our image, we can right click and do edit in Luminar Neo, and it will open up a new file in Luminar Neo. And then when we're finished, we can save it and it brings it back to Lightroom. Now, once again, if you are looking for a standalone editing program, you can also use Luminar in that way. So let's jump over and go to our first image. Let's see, let's start with this one. I'm gonna expand this. So when you open Luminar Neo, they do have a ton of presets that you can use, but I prefer to edit my image and really customize it myself. So I'm gonna go up to the top to the edit box. And for this image, there's just a couple things that I really want to do to it. I want to bring out some detail and also add the softness. That is one of my signature editing tips, is to keep some detail, but also get that soft, ethereal look that I really like. So the first thing we'll do is let's go add some detail. And to do that, I'm going to go down to the details box over here in the essentials panel. We're going to click on details. And I'm going to do some small details and maybe even some medium. And I'm just going to take those small up a little bit more and even maybe sharpen. Now there is a details masking. And so this is where we can mask the details. We can kind of protect the details when we're doing masking. So it's just some options that you can play with. What I love about Luminar Neo is the ability to mask, and it's right here on every section. If you are afraid or scared or don't like masking in Photoshop, I can promise you masking here is so much easier. I'm going to show you how. So we've added some details. Let's look at it before. You can see kind of how soft that was. And now just a little pop. It's not too dramatic. I'm going to zoom in for you. You can see that was before and that's after. So just a little bit before, after. We could always do some more if we wanted to really bring that out. Now, I only want it on this part of the image. So what I'm going to do is a mask, and I'm going to go ahead and use a radial gradient so that it's really nice and soft. I'm going to just put it right here, bring it over. And what I want to do is invert it. So with masking in Luminar, the red is where it's going to be applied. So I want to invert, and that's going to apply it right here. Now, I chose this type of gradient because I want it to be soft. I don't want it to just be like all the details here. I want it to fade softly out. So we've got that now, and we can go ahead and close that out. And now we can see we still have our softness on the rest of the image. Again, let me zoom in. I'll show you before. Before it was pretty soft on top, and now we've got those details. So you can see a little bit more detail there and before. All right, so the next step is I want to actually add a little bit more softness to this entire image. So what I love to do for that is the glow, which is under the creative panel. So let's go down to glow, and you have several options here under type. One of my favorites is the Orton Effect Soft. Now this Orton effect was named after a photographer, a Canadian photographer, who kind of invented this look and feel. And so you can read more about him online if you're interested. It's really, really fascinating. But I love this look. And so I'm going to click on this one and start doing the amount. Now you can see it's softening the image, but it's also brightening it. So what we want to do is go down to the effects, and you can reduce the brightness. So I don't really want to brighten this image. I do want to add some warmth. And so that is a nice feature that you can do that right here. And we can also increase the softness. So I really want this dogwood to be pretty dreamy, but again, I don't want the brightness impacted. All right, now we can also use our mask. So if I want to use the brush, and maybe I want to erase just a little bit of this from the center of the flower, I can bring the strength down. So think about this erase like an eraser. So we've applied this mask, and now at a really low strength, high softness, I'm going to just brush a little bit of it off the center. So I'm just removing a little bit of it off right here. So as you click, you'll see your mask, and you can see that the eraser is really soft. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that off. Just pops the details just a little bit. So I really like this softness, and overall, we're headed in the right direction with this image. Now, as I look at it, I'm going to go up to the develop section, and I want to reduce my highlights just a little bit because they're a little bright. And then I want to go to color, and for the overall image, I want to add a little bit more warmth, just a tiny touch, just to give it that look. And then I'm going to come down, and I want to add a curves, which is still right here in this development box. And one thing that I like to do is bring down the midtones, which is going to give us that kind of moody nature, kind of deep in nature look. Now I can also mask with this. And so if I wanted to use the brush, and again, at a very low strength, very soft, I could come in and just remove a little bit from the petals of the flower to keep them a little bit more, stand them out from the background. So again, masking here is so easy. All right, so I feel pretty good with this image. Let's look at our flower. We've got our before. We can see the before, and that's the before and the after. So you can see the warmth that we've added. I think I've got a delay on the program just a little bit today. That's the before. and then the after, just adding some warmth and some details. Now, when you're finished with your edits and you're happy with them, you can apply. You can also save your edits as a preset. So if you come down to actions, you can save it as a preset and then you'll have it in the future. You can also see all of the edits that you made here. And if you want to remember those, I do encourage you to save it as a preset. You would have it going forward. All right, so let's jump over and let's talk about details and glow with a new image. So let's go over to, I want us to go over to this tulip real fast. So we're going to expand this one. And this image again, just a little soft right here in the center. So I'm going to come over and there is an extension that you can get with Luminar and it's called Super Sharp. This is an extension that you can purchase when you purchase the program or you can add it. And I really, it's an AI program. And what we can do is we can reduce motion blur or just do a universal. I'm going to do low to start and it's going to process. So this is the AI process that is looking at the image and it's going to make some sharpness details. Now, the great thing is once it's finished, we can mask it. We can place the details just where we want them. We can adjust the intensity. And so that's what's really fantastic. Now, if you don't want to purchase this extra extension, there is the option to add details and structure within the basic panel. And those two work really nice. But I thought today I would show you how the Super Sharp works. So we're going to give this just another minute. It usually doesn't take too long for the program to process. So while this is processing, in the description of this video, I have a link that will take you to all the details about Luminar Neo. I also have a coupon code for you. So if you're interested in purchasing the program and trying it out, you can do that right there in the description of the video. So as soon as this is finished, I'm going to go grab a cup of coffee. I'll be right back. Finish processing and let me just show you the before and the after. If you look at these pollen and even the center, which was really soft, it's brought out all that detail. So many of you may use Topaz or Topaz Studio 2. The Topaz programs have very similar features. So if you already have that, it may not be necessary for you to purchase this Super Sharp, but it is a great option. So you can see how that worked. Now I want to show you also real quick. So I am going to undo that feature and let's go back to just our original image. I'm going to show you how with the program that you purchase, you get this option for structure. Now this is an AI based as well. And I'm going to just increase the structure and it will take just a minute and you can see immediately the difference that it provides. So if we take our little before and after, you can see a difference there. Now it's dark in the center of the flower bud just a little bit, but we can go in and fix that. So I'm going to bring this down just a little bit. It still makes the details pop, so much more detail. Now I'm going to go down to details as well. And this is really my favorite box. I think this one works really great. I'm going to do small and medium. I'm going to pump those up just a little bit. And let's go ahead and go back to the structure and I'm going to just turn that one down. So we're just going to stick with the details and I want you to see what it's able to do. So I've got it increased and let's look at that's before and that's after. So very similar to the Super Sharp extension. So I like the way that that works. So let's go back to just the single view of our image. And now we can see all those incredible details. Now we can also see details on the rest of the image. And I really didn't want that. I'm also getting some color coming through. So we're going to use the mask again. This time I'm going to use the brush and I want to paint and I only want this paint on this area. So that means we're going to apply the details just to this part of the image. So we are going to just paint. And that's where we want the details, all in this center. I do want some of this pollen. So I'm just going to kind of come around this center area. And that's where we want our details. Now you can see our background is back black. Our flower is still really soft, and we just have the details in the center. Now we can also reduce the strength, so I can pull that back just a little bit if I don't want it as strong as it is. I can also go back to the adjustments and I can reduce the amount and get it to where I feel like it kind of matches the image. So I'm going to bring it back just a little bit. All right, so we went through details and structure. So let's go back to our details and our structure. We've got all of those. And now I want to add that awesome glow. So I'm going to go to glow. And this time I want to use just the glow effect. And so I'm going to turn that up and look at how it brightens and softens our image. Really nice. Now what I can do is go to masking, use the brush, erase, and I'm going to take that glow off this center part of the image. So remember, in Luminar, the red is where the application is being applied. So I'm going to just remove some of that glow because we don't want it in these areas, and keep it on the rest of the image. So now if we look at the before and after, let's turn off our glow. Let's go to our before and after, and we'll check out this slider. So look at the detail before and after, and then look at the petals, the nice glow and brightness. So I love, love, love that glow feature. It just does a really beautiful job. All right, so we'll look at one more image together today. And this image, let's see, I think it's the first one. Here we go. So this image, I just want to do two things to it here in Luminar. So we're going to go to edit. The first thing is I want to add that magical glow. So I'm going to come down really quick. And this time I want to go down and let's look at just the Orton effect. And I'm going to start with the amount. You can see that Orton effect just gives it a beautiful softness. Let's look at before and after. So you can just see what a difference with one click. It almost looks like I used a flash or just had some really soft light on it. So it's very, very subtle. The next effect I want to do is the one that's called matte. And so here, this is going to give a matte look to the entire image. We can also increase the fade of it, but it's, and I'm going to reduce the contrast, and I don't want much vividness. I want to keep the background really dark and moody, but I really want that matte look. So if we just look at the background here, you can see the before and the after. So it's just applying that. Now, I really don't want it applied to my flower. So again, I'm going to use the mask, and let's do a radial gradient. I'm going to draw the radial, get it over my flower, have it coming in kind of tight like that. And I'm going to invert it. Let's go back. Okay, the red is where we want it. And so if we look at this now, we can see the mask is just applied to the background. So again, we've got our before. You can see the dark, the flower. Now we've brightened it just a touch, and we've added that softness to the background. So a few of my favorite tools here in Luminar Neo that I love to use, the glow features, adding details with details, structure, and just creating that detailed look plus the softness. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Please like and comment, and let me know what you think if you're a Luminar Neo user, and any videos that you'd love for me to create for you. Thanks, everybody.